everyone. In my most recent repotting with Grey Turtle video, I showed how I groomed the violets that started forming suckers, and I got a few questions asking what happens if you don't remove the suckers and just keep them on the plant. And so on this shelf, I assembled a few plants to demonstrate what happens when you keep the suckers growing on the main crown, and also to compare them with the single crown varieties that have been groomed and have no suckers and grow as a single crown. So sometimes the ability to form suckers depends on the variety. Mostly miniatures and semi-miniatures are notorious for that. Some of them grow suckers, like this an Avatar by Nadezhda Bertnikova. Here we have two additional crowns growing sidewise from the main crown stem. And also standards and large varieties can form suckers. For example, here we see Hunter's Slippery When Wet growing quite a few suckers here, and it is in desperate need of grooming, but I kept it for this video as is. And here is, of course, the main star of the episode, PT Yanina by Tatiana Pugacheva, that we will be taking a closer look at. And all starts with younger starter plants when they are repotted into the fresh potting mix, like this Cajun's Dixie Pride. And so what we see here is the center of the main crown, and it looks nice and healthy. But when we look sidewise here on the sides, we see that in addition to the bloom stalks, and already one of them beginning to open, this plant started growing additional crowns, smaller crowns called suckers, and they are growing from the main stem of the main crown, whereas the single crown varieties are expected to grow only in single crown, and no additional secondary crowns are supposed to grow on them, according to, of course, the African violet growing standards, like this semi-miniature called RS Notki, which translates to musical notes, or this one, Yaka Skarabey, which translates to scarab, by Yelena Korshunova. I love this variety. It has a very robust variegated foliage, and the blue blooms, and they start already showing some fantasy, even though it's quite faint on the first blooms, but as it keeps maturing, it forms more fantasy pigment in the blooms. So this is what a single crown variety looks like, just with one center, or this one, RS Notki, whereas here, Cajun's Dixie Pride started growing these sideways secondary crowns. So, of course, if you keep them on the plant, they will keep on growing, and sometimes they will start misforming or deforming the main crown, so the main crown starts growing sidewise, which of course kind of makes it look misshaped. And of course, it's a matter of preference. Some of us don't mind the plants that grow in multiple crowns, but if you were to show this plant in a show, it would not be accepted, because there are certain rules and standards for single crown varieties, and one of them is that they should not have any suckers on them. Do they continue to bloom if you don't remove the suckers? Yes, they do. Here, Hunter's Slippery When Wet is blooming, even though not as profusely as it could bloom if it were groomed in a timely fashion. And then, of course, PT Yanina is blooming right now, and I honestly, I kind of like the look, frankly, on it, so I'm keeping it in multiple crowns because I'm not showing my plants. And for my home, I can kind of enjoy the look of the multiple crowns when, of course, I'm too lazy or too busy to groom it and shape it in a way that it's supposed to grow in a single crown. It's a beautiful variety with really large creamy white blooms with some blush on them. Some of them already fading here. And of course it can bloom much more if it is grown and groomed properly. So here we only see single blooms here and there on individual crowns, and there are multiple crowns in this pot. PT Yanina. And this is a groomed plant, and actually I don't recall even that this is Buckeye Scrumptious by Pat Hancock, and I don't recall if this variety ever formed secondary crowns when I repotted it as a young starter plant. I think this one behaves quite nicely. It's growing in a single crown and it started blooming recently. I love the blooms on this variety. And here is Apache Gem. That's another variety that rarely forms suckers, and it is a very good bloomer. So this is just a single crown. And also Jolly Cupid. It's either a mini or a semi. I'll include it in the captions. Just beginning to bloom, and no suckers are found anywhere, just the flower buds. I'm expecting quite a show on this plant later on when all the buds open. So bottom line, should you remove the suckers? It depends. If you want to grow for a show, then certainly follow the rules of growing for a show. But if you're growing just for your own pleasure, and if you want to see a symmetrical plant, then of course remove them. Like I will soon be grooming Cajun's Dixie Pride to make sure that it has no suckers, just the main crown. And I will keep the PT Yanina just because I like the look. So remove them or keep them if you're just growing for pleasure. It's up to you. As long as the plant looks healthy, you can grow it to your liking. And sometimes the plants that are not overly groomed can look nice as well. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe to support this channel.